And this first thing is for Evie because she got her membership back. Hello, Evie. Finally, Evie figured out how to do it. So let's put the membership song, and then we will go and play Evie's favorite Rambler song. Okay, thank you to Evie, and now we're going to play, let's see, come on, let me try to find it. I believe it's this one. No. I think it's this one. Yeah.
I never thought this journey would look like this, but I am grateful for the ones who stayed. When the world turned loud and cold, when words were thrown and stories told, some walked away, some joined the fight, but you stayed here, you were my light. I didn't always have the strength, some days I barely breathed at length, but you reminded me I'm more than all the battles at my door. And I don't take that love for granted, the way you planted hope in me. When everything felt broken, you helped me finally see. You helped me finally see. You helped me finally see. Because you said I kept going, I kept going. Because you cared, I kept going. And through the darkest nights I knew I could make it thanks to you. This channel isn't just a stream, it's more than we could ever choose. True crime, crafts, and hearts that mend, a family that won't pretend, won't pretend. I am grateful I am here, because you turned my pain to cheer. And even those who walked away, I hope they find a better day. I won't be bitter, I won't close, my heart still grows, my kindness flows. That's what life is meant to be, a face for you, peace for you, a place for me. I lost so much I won't deny. Some days I still just wonder why, but purpose came and so did you. And now I know what I can do to build a space where voices rise, where no one hides, where truth survives, where friendship means you show you care.
I'm still here. Hold on one second. I had to get my coffee and I was trying to do something because I had to take my vitamins and I have to eat these pears. Are these pears? Yeah, they're ugly pears. So I'm going to put a song on because I have to eat these ugly pears.
You say if this happened to you, you'd hang your head in shame, you'd run away and disappear. You'd never show your face again. But you don't hear what you're saying, you don't see what it reveals. Your lack of self-awareness shows the weakness that you conceal. You think shame is something you can hand me, like a weight I have to bear. But you don't know the road I've walked, or the battles waiting there. You don't know the nights I've come, you don't know the tears I've cried. You only see the person standing, you never saw the battles inside. This is resilience, this is the fire that remains. This is a heart that kept on beating through unimaginable pain. I have carried what no parent should ever have to know. I buried part of my own heart and still found the strength to grow. So say what you want, let the whispers remain. I'll survive what breaks most people. You can't make me wear your shame. You thought my scars meant I was broken, you thought my tears meant I was weak, but you never saw the courage it took to rise each week. You thought I'd fade into the silence, you thought I'd surrender my voice. But every morning that I rise again is a reminder of my choice. Because strength is not the absence of the pain that you've been through. Strength is carrying the pieces and still finding something true. This is resilience, this is the strength you can't erase. This is the light that keeps on shining when darkness fills the space. I have walked through fire and darkness, I have faced the parents' greatest fear, but the love that lives forever is the reason I am here. So bring your mind game, bring your mind game, bring every word you say, every word you say. They are smaller than the mountains I have climbed along the way. You thought if I stayed I was broken, you thought leaving was the only way. But you never knew the courage it took to face another day. You wanted me to carry shame, wanted me to hide, but I have already survived the storm that changed my entire life. This is resilience, not just a word, it's who I am. It's every scar and every tear. Every time I chose to stand, I lost a piece of my own heart, but I never lost my soul. The pain became a part of me, but it never took control. You can talk, you can judge, you can smile, read my name, but I'm still here. I am still standing, and I will not leave. This is resilience, this is my story, this is my strength. Still breathing, still loving, still rising, still rising.
Hold on a minute. This is Resilience. That's going to be a new merch line. It's a strength you can't erase. And we have to remember that because we are resilient. And I give all the glory to God. Today was amazing. Okay, so we watched the Clancy trial, and then I said I was going to go for a swim. And then before I went for the swim, I had an email from someone that I'm working with like the most crazy, incredible news for the channel, for everything, with the right people in your path, right? That kind of thing. So I was like really overjoyed with that, right? Then I went down, we sat on the dock. My sister was there. We had a nice conversation. We talked for a while. Then I went into the water. The water was perfect. And let me make sure that you can hear me, because this is pretty silly. You're not going to even believe what I'm going to tell you. And at this point, I was like 100%. I said, thank you, God. Because what had already transpired was like crazy. So let me see. Hold on. I got it. It's like, yeah, it's the most. So I go down and then I take the swim, come out. Jimmy had to go to softball. Then Jimmy came back from softball. He came down to the dock and he said, "Are you getting out?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to get out." Because then we had Ethan's girlfriend coming over. I'm going to get pizza at the restaurant, all that stuff, right? Okay. I get out of the water and the water was perfect. And I have some towels down on the dock, right? So I literally, Jimmy was standing like this, looking at the dock, and I was standing here. And when I bent down to get the towels, I made like a bridge. So I didn't bend at my knees and squat down. I kind of just, almost like you're going to make a bridge with your back. And the minute I did that, Jimmy goes, "Don't move." I said, "Why?" He said, "There's a bird on your back." I said, "There's a bird on my back?" He goes, "Yeah." I thought he was kidding me, okay? I was almost going to say, "Yeah, right." And he said, "Don't move." So I didn't move. Then he was taking pictures. Then he took a video. And he's like, "The bird is still there." And he's coming closer and closer. He's like, "This is crazy." I said, "I don't feel any bird on my back." He said, "The bird's on your back." And then it went, all of a sudden I could feel like, all I felt, I didn't feel birds' feet. You know what I felt? The flutter of feathers, right here on my shoulder. And I'm still bent down like a bridge, okay? And I just felt the flutter of feathers, and then it went right into the, right into the lilies right there. So I said, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy." I really thought he was kidding me, but there really was a bird on my back. And then I said, "Well, if you weren't here, I would have never known there was a bird on my back. I wouldn't have known there was a bird on my back." So I said, "Do you think there could have been many other times that I've bent down to pick up the towels and there's been birds on my back?" It's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods and, right? What if nobody's there to see the bird on your back? You could have a bird on your back and not know. I would never have known until I felt the flutter of the wings here. But if I had just grabbed the towels and went straight up, it would have flown off back. I wouldn't have known. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, and I don't even know what kind of bird it was. He took pictures of it, and it's funny. It looks like a kingfisher, but then it's not the right coloring for a kingfisher. I don't know what it is. I have to get the stuff loaded. So yeah, so that was a great. That was really amazing, really amazing. Anyway. So, yeah, that was crazy. I don't even think I told Luke there was a bird on my back, or Ethan, or his girlfriend. Oh my gosh. Okay. So hi Ari, hi Linda, hi Ivy, Binky, hello there. You got your membership back. I don't even know if she knows because I think they just announced it. Hi Jen Grill. So today we watched the trial, and we had some people. You know that if you're a member here, I will post a Zoom number. And if you're a member on the channel, you can come into the Zoom and watch the trial with us. So that's one of the perks. So we had some people watching the trial today, and the first thing that happened was the court. I think she's the clerk there. Don't you love the way they start that court with the "Hear ye," like with the banging? It's very, very theatrical. So anyway, they announced that Lindsay Clancy wanted to be heard before the jury, and she wanted to stipulate to evidence, and so that once she stipulates to these things, they become a record of fact for the jury. So the jury takes them as fact. The prosecution does not have to prove them. Hi, B lady. And I got your payment, and your items will go out tomorrow, okay? So thank you very much. Can I ask for prayers? You're experiencing a lot of anxiety, Super Chat. Of course. Are you having a lot of anxiety? Then you're in the right place. Stay with us. Hi, Murder. Stay with us, and you'll talk with everybody. You'll think about other things. And everybody, please, let's take a second here and say a prayer for Super Chat that their anxiety is calmed and they have peace beyond all understanding. I'm going to pray for you right now, Super Chat. Okay, and hopefully everybody else will say prayer or good thoughts to you, and you'll be feeling better in no time. Okay, a lot of people have anxiety, Super Chat, and we all, myself included. I think most of us do have some bit of anxiety, right? And so it's good to be around people, not to be alone with thoughts that are just making you anxious. So you're in a good place. Okay. So then she stipulates. So before she could stipulate, the judge had to say, and it was silly kind of, because the things she stipulated to, she's not contesting that she killed her children. That's not something the prosecution has to prove. Hi, Pudding. That's already a done deal. They're not contesting that she killed the children. Okay, so that's a fact. So now she wants to stipulate, and what she wants to stipulate to is who took blood evidence and certain evidence from the kids and chain of command stuff. So it's going to tremendously streamline the witnesses, and it's really not anything that, because like when you listen to the judge, he's like, you understand, you're giving up your right, the Commonwealth has to prove this, you can say nothing, and if you stipulate to that, it becomes a record of fact. And he's going over this. Did anybody force you to do this? Have you thought about this? Are you sure about this? And all of that. Okay, Ari. And she said, and it's the first time we've heard her speak, yes, Your Honor, I have, no one's forced, so the whole thing, she stipulates to this. And really all it amounted to was just people that collected evidence, people that collected the evidence and the chain of command with the evidence, they weren't going to object to any of that. Hello, Evelyn Hillman, new member. Yay! Evie, you became a whole new member. You don't even have your son, the sunshine. You became a whole new member. Did you make a whole new account? Let me see if she made a whole brand new account. We played your song. We played your membership song. And we played the song you like. So I hope you heard it. Because we played it in the beginning. Yeah, she created her account today. Welcome to YouTube, Evelyn Heilman. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to YouTube. Oh, you're not even a moderator. Yeah, she created her account to... Hold on a minute. She's not even a moderator. Hold on. Oh my gosh, we have to make her a moderator on her new account. Okay. All right, there you are now. You began to get confused when the judge was asking Lindsay all those things, plus her attorney was on fire today. You know what it is about her attorney? And I'll tell you what it is. He's 75 years old. He's 75 years old. And I think as we get older, right, and I'm a lot younger than him, but you put up with less and less BS, right? And I think that he's getting he's had it. And so it's almost comical in a way, because I can imagine him, you're out having a sandwich with this guy, and he's like, yeah, and that one over there, he talking about this. I asked him, or I asked her, do you even know what a laceration is, right? So, but he's almost comical in a way, but he even was trying to declare people hostile witnesses. I think it was the doctor, right? Well, I think she's a hostile witness. And, he was, he needed a Snickers today. Somebody should have brought that man a Snickers. But, yeah. So she stipulated to things that really didn't make a bag of beans a difference. They really didn't. But the judge has to do these things. Oh yes, like they were children. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought one was going to answer him back with something, but they didn't. But we'll talk about that in a minute, specifically what he said. But so she stipulated to all this stuff, and then they admitted medical reports for the 3 kids, and there were no drugs in the kids' system in their toxicology. There were not. And then they had a blood spatter expert to tell us all about the blood, and you can see there are sprays. So she hit some kind of an artery, okay, and it sprayed out for a little bit, and then there was drip patterns and drip marks, and they went on about did she slide down the house? So, like the defense attorney would say, oh, so like what? She Spider-Man'd it down the house? She Spider-Man? How isn't there all blood smears from her hands all over the place and all of that? So he was contesting all of that. And then, so the blood spatter, we heard a lot about, we saw the knife, the bloody knife on the nightstand next to they're called wine glasses. People can drink anything out of them, but they're stemless and they're like insulated. And it said, because kids, meaning because kids, that's why I drink thing. But that doesn't mean she was drinking wine, and we don't even know where she got that from, but it was next to the bloody knife on the nightstand, and the knife was a large like a chef's knife. On the blood spatter, the old blood, new blood, red or brown. Yeah, and then you have to remember too. Remember, Patrick said that there was blood on the doorknob to the bedroom. So she was walking around bleeding, and there's blood on the carpet downstairs. Now, I don't know if they ever got to say who, I don't think they did, whose blood that was. It was on the carpet downstairs. And it could have been from one of the kids' faces. It wasn't drip pattern like that. It was more like it would be from one of the kids, but we'll find out about that. The one person went back for it. Yes, in June. Correct. Yeah, that was interesting that they waited until June to get that. And then they're going to break early at 1 o'clock tomorrow, so it'll be a short day. Today, I think, what was it, around, was longer than they usually go today, because maybe around, I don't know, 4:30, something like that. There was blood on the carpet, and the kids, I believe it was Cora, had blood around her nose. You're surprised she lived. There was a lot of blood. Well, I mean, they asked again about somebody that was on that superficial wounds, and they explained that there was no muscle or ligaments cut. It was just fat that was exposed, is what they say, and they didn't mention any arteries cut. The blood spatter expert kept going into that. Let's go look at the all the testimony. She had a headband on today, and I'll tell you something else, and you're not, I forget, like sometimes you guys are not in the Zoom, so I say things in the Zoom, and I think I said them to everybody, but I'm going to tell you something. And Heart Made Wise, I know you are not here right now and here. There was a woman that testified. I had your voice today. It was crazy. She had your voice. Even Linda said it. I said, who does this sound like? Linda said, Heart. And she sounded so much like you, Heart. Okay, now I want to show this picture here. This prosecutor, I don't know which sister she is. When she wears her hair like this, I think the super nanny. Do you guys remember the super nanny? What was her name? Jo? I think she's prosecuting this case. So I had to show you that because I think it's the super nanny. All right. Has anybody else noticed that it looks like the super nanny? Only when she wears her hair like that. And when she wears like that black, because it looks like the super nanny. Is that what she was called, the super nanny? The one, she was from the UK, I believe, right? She came in that British car. It reminds me of the super nanny. All right, so let's get over here. So Lindsay answered many questions that the judge asked of her before the jury was brought in. It's rare that we heard her voice for that long, right? She was very demure, very soft-spoken, very polite. You agree that the Commonwealth doesn't have to prove the facts that are in the stipulation. And she said, yes, Your Honor. And then he said, you are basically relieving the Commonwealth of its burden to prove certain facts. Is that what you want to do? Yes, Your Honor, she said again. Here's a better picture. No? Yes? No? Why does it keep doing that? There we go. So after the judge finished asking her a series of questions, Kevin Reddington, her lawyer, said, "We have not contested the government's case in chief, meaning the defense isn't arguing about the facts of the prosecution's case, the witnesses they call, and the evidence they present. Instead, the case is centering on Clancy's mental state and whether she was cold and calculating in carrying out the murders or in the throes of severe postpartum psychosis." Reddington said the point was to relieve the government of having to bring in dozens of witnesses to prove chain of custody of bloods and fluids and all of that. He added that they were agreeing to evidence including blood, DNA, and the exercise bands that Clancy used to strangle the children. Her attorney said he is not contesting that Lindsay Clancy killed her kids, but is instead going to ask the jury to find her not guilty by reason of insanity. But that's not what it is over there. It's that she had no criminal responsibility on the grounds that she was suffering from severe postpartum psychosis. The stipulation that she has agreed to could significantly shorten the trial, as many witnesses now will no longer be required to come to court and prove those facts, which really, come on, we most wanted to see, people like we've heard first responders, yeah, we've heard that. We want to hear from Patrick's mother, right? We want to hear from her parents. We want to hear from people that she worked with. That's what we want to hear now. Do not see like a parade of people coming in who took blood samples and come on, nobody's going to contest that. So that's good that they got that out of the way. And hang on, so now let's go to what was done. So Christina Carpio was a surgeon at South Shore, and she testified about treating Lindsay Clancy before she was transferred over to Brigham and Women's. And this is the doctor that testified here. Let's see. Okay. Shoot, hold on a sec. All right, so she said that imaging showed that Lindsay Clancy had complex fractures in her spine and that she needed a higher level of care, and that's why she was transferred to Brigham and Women's. Okay, now wait 1 second. Let me go to... They got... Rabbit, Joseph Rabbit, Lieutenant Joseph Rabbit. But I want to just... Hold on 1 second, because there's... more here. me just make sure we have, I don't want to. Okay. My gosh, I have so much crap. Okay, let me go where we were now. Oh, the judge also said, again, Alyssa, just so you know, it's going to be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow. So she said this Dr. Christina, who's on there, Dr. Christina Carpio, she said that Clancy had injuries to her neck and wrists when she was brought in, but they were superficial. They did not require immediate attention. She says the CT scans were also done in her head, neck, abdomen, and pelvis. She said the lacerations to the neck were the only obvious injuries that she saw on Lindsay's head or face. Now, the defense attorney was questioning the doctor about how long Clancy was at South Shore Hospital and about the treatment she was given. He asked about the injury to her spine. And Carpio said that the pattern of injury indicated instability to her spine. And then she was released after some really brief redirect. And then we have Lieutenant Joseph Rabbit. Let me get his picture up there. Okay. You should go up there. Are you going up there, Mr. Rabbit? There you go, but you're not centered. Why are you not centered? Okay. Her off here. All right, so he's from Massachusetts State Police, Lieutenant Joseph Rabbit. He was assigned to the Plymouth District Attorney's Office on the date of the incident in Duxbury. His first response related to the case was at Beth Israel Hospital in Plymouth. He did not go to the crime scene, the house in Duxbury. When he was at the hospital, he spoke with Patrick Clancy. After leaving the hospital, he went then to the Clancy's former home to execute the search warrant. He also testified about some of the various medications that Lindsay was reportedly taking, that they seized, and others that Patrick Clancy brought to the police. And then Reddington questioned him a little bit about the search warrant execution and the inventory of the pill bottles, and he was done. And then we had Maureen Hartnett. I think this is the one. Oh gosh, that's so funny if this is the one that sounds like Hart. Is it? Hartnett was the, I don't know. I don't remember if this was the one that sounded like her. Hang on, let me see. If it was, but we'll see. Okay, so let's put up this one for a minute. This is while we talk about the crime scene. Does anybody know what this right here is? What is that? So they had to remove the gauze and take pictures. And Maureen Hartnett, she works at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. She told the jury about swabbing the red-brown stains on Lindsay Clancy's wrists, and then she collected samples from blood around her bedroom and in her basement where Cora, Dawson, and Callan were strangled. And blood samples were collected from the master bedroom where you see the nightstand and everything. She also took samples from under Lindsay Clancy's fingernails and collected the clothes that were taken off of Lindsay Clancy in the hospital. And then after a short break, she was back on the stand, and she told the jurors that she took DNA swabs of the elastic bands. I'm trying to get you these evidence photos up here while we're looking at this in case you didn't see court today. Hold on. There we go. And those are evidence photos of exercise bands that were found in the Clancy's family basement gym. Hartnett collected the 3 exercise bands, and she took samples from the handles and from the center of the bands to see who was holding them and if anyone else came in contact with the center of the bands. Then there was Massachusetts State Trooper Jonathan O'Loughlin. And I'm going to see first over here. There's one other thing I want to tell you about Hartnett. So hold on one second, where she saw additional stains. She later responded to the Clancy's former home, where she was directed to the basement, and when she was there, she observed a red-brown stain on the floor. She went, let me see. Oh, yeah, in cross-examination, Kevin Reddington asked her about individual stains that she tested, and ultimately whether extended exposure to weather conditions, stained shingles that were collected 5 months after the investigation began, could degrade the quality of the sample. And the prosecution had her explain why she didn't perform confirmatory testing on those shingles was because she might have to use them up. Which was because she might have to use them up. What the heck? What does... That's not... Why I didn't hear anything. She might have to use them up? No, that's totally misquoted. Let's see what... Some of this, it goes on and on and on when we were watching, and it's like, you just think, okay. It's kind of like a lot of people tune out with the DNA stuff, just cut to the chase and tell us, right? But, let me see. I can put something in here and see what she said. Okay. Okay, so she agreed that the outdoor elements in weather can degrade biological evidence like blood over time. But Forensic scientists weighed the necessity of preserving sample integrity against consuming limited material during exhaustive confirmatory testing. So I think, let's see what. They use non-destructive methods first to minimize sample use. And they work closely with legal teams to handle trace evidence responsibly. I think they were just kind of saying they knew it was from her and they didn't want to take the shingles maybe off the house and all of that, and we just work with what they had. I don't think it makes much difference. I think we know that it's her blood on the house, right? So, and we're not questioning whether she killed the kids. We know she killed the kids. We know she killed the kids. Yeah, you can ask a general question. Go ahead. Was Lindsay agreeing to all this? Yes, to move the... Yeah, because what she's agreeing to be is just ridiculous. It's just technicalities, right? Who collected the blood sample? Who swabbed that? Who did that? Who did this? Who did this on the kids? Okay? They didn't... You know... Who did you pass that sample to? Did you collect Cora's blood? Did you get it from here? What did you do with it? Did you bring it there? You know, it's just... So, yes, it's going to cut down on a lot of witnesses. Yeah, Joe Frost, right? Super nanny. Yep, chain of command. Okay, are you going to ask your question, B, or let me know. I'm going to pull up this over here. Oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy here. Okay. That picture we already went through. So where are we over here? Hold on a minute. There's, oh my gosh. Okay, this is where I'm going to go, right over here. What the... Hold on, I'm trying to pull up something over here. 1 second. I want to go to... Okay, on the night of the murders, that the Hartnett tested red brown stains on the basement floor where Cora was found for the presence of blood. She also tested 4 stains in the upstairs bedroom, and they were all positive. Okay, I think we know it's all blood, right? She tested red-brown stains on the inside of the second floor bedroom window for presence of blood, but not on the outside. Hartnett explained she observed the exterior stain, but had collected other samples and said they seemed to come from a singular bleeder. And she tested stains found in the yard. And on June 15th of 2023, months after the murders, she went back to the house to test the stains on the exterior shingles near the master bedroom window. And she said an orange ball stain under the bedroom window still posted negative for blood. And Patrick had testified that was his repair for woodpecker damage. Remember that? He sprayed some foam or something in there? Okay. And it is true the woodpeckers will try to peck on your house. We have one that tries to do it not lately, thank goodness, but in the... He goes on something metal on our house, and it's just ridiculous. Okay. And Hartnett identified 3 shingles that were removed from the Clancy home and that they contained blood stains for further analysis. And then she did the 3 exercise bands, like I said. And then Jonathan O'Loughlin, the Massachusetts State Police trooper, was the next witness. And he said the knife in the bedroom and the 3 exercise bands were of no value for fingerprint comparison analysis. And this is the one that Reddington snapped at. So hang on one second. Let me... Come on. Okay. Stop it. So a lot of people are saying that her lawyer is very good. Okay, and I think he is a very good lawyer, even for his age. But no. Some people are saying his aggressive stuff could backfire, but he is putting in a lot of effort. So let me get what he did over here to this guy. So he snapped at the state trooper. Hold on a minute. Oh my gosh, I just had my thing here, and then so I want to remember this correctly. What the heck did I just had my... Okay. So at one point, Kevin Reddington, the defense attorney, snaps at the Massachusetts state trooper, Jonathan O'Loughlin, after he was asked dozens of questions about the crime scene, only to admit to the jury that he was unable to collect any fingerprints from a knife, a cell phone, and exercise bands taken from Clancy's home. "You could have just said that," he barked. The judge then sustained an objection from the prosecutors. And let me see here. Yeah, because I think he just wants to cut to the chase. Like, what does it really matter? The fingerprints on the, like, nobody is saying that anybody else did this to her, or that's, so it's like the fingerprints on the band. She's saying she strangled them. So yeah, so I think he's just like, just cut to the chase. There's no fingerprints. There's no fingerprints. Just say it. Time's precious. He's 75. He knows time's precious. We all do. I mean, but it's just, let's get out of there. All right. Let me go back to where we were here. Then Hillary Griffith, Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, is the next witness. She testified to the presence of prescription drugs in Lindsay Clancy, blood and urine taken while she was in the hospital after the murders. So she had drugs in her, but remember, Lisa Yell is from the crime lab. She says that the urine and blood tested positive for 5 drug substances, but the test did not identify the quantity. And then after that, we heard that of what was stipulated to in the toxicology for Cora, Dawson, and Callan Clancy. No substances were detected in the blood of Callan, Cora, and Dawson Clancy. The children had no medications. They weren't, nothing, okay? So they were not drugged or anything. Now, hold on. I'm going to check if B-Lady has a question there before I go on. Okay, or maybe I missed a lot in the beginning. What are you doing now? Okay, let me see. Think he is a great lawyer? Yeah, he is. Okay, it has been agreed that she did in fact kill the children, yes. And then tried to take her own life, yes. But allegedly, well, it's not, no. It's not agreed upon that she tried to take her own life. It's agreed upon that she killed the children. The prosecution is not, saying it was not a real attempt. So, no, that part is not agreed upon. Okay. Allegedly, her only way out is to convince the jury that she was suffering. Well, she's not getting out, number one. No matter what, she's not getting out. She's either going to go to a psychiatric facility or a prison. She's trying to convince the jury that she is not criminally responsible because of the postpartum psychosis. And the prosecution is saying that's a bunch of BS. And they're trying to say she is criminally responsible for this. That it was plotted, calculated, and done, with intention. And she knew it was wrong. So that's what's happening there. So hopefully that answers your question. Now you're saying pregnancy situation and was out of her mind. I have not heard any testimony about her being nuts or hearing voices. You did miss it. She did mention the one man's voice. And yes, she did mention that. But all of this stuff about chain of command has nothing to do with what she did. No, it doesn't. But nonetheless, they have to go over it. In my opinion, she is not proved to the jury was nuts. Am I making sense? Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm so afraid that if the testimony keeps on like this, she's going to be found guilty. Wait a second. So now you're saying that you haven't seen anything that's making you think she was out of her mind, and you're very afraid. So that means, B-Lady, you believe she was out of her mind? You're convinced of that? And you're so afraid that, see, I'm not convinced of that. I'm convinced the fact that she wanted to take her life. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced that she didn't want to leave her kids if she was going to take her life. I'm pretty convinced of that. I'm not convinced that she didn't know what she was doing was wrong and that it was coming from a voice that was compelling her to do it. Okay. The B, hopefully he is just trying to eliminate the superfluous BS, like whether or not she did it. I mean, we know she did it. Right. True, but I'm not hearing anything about her not being responsible, just all this blood stuff that's irrelevant. No. From the testimony, they are not proving she was not right in the mind, only that she did it, which is cold-blooded murder. The B, true, but when the defense gets their shot at it, maybe we'll hear more. I'm worried too, though, but trying to stay cautiously optimistic. So you're pretty sure then, Ivy Speed, that you've come to a decision that you believe she was not criminally responsible for this? See, I haven't come to that decision yet. I have to hear more. Okay. Let me get back here. So Sherry Crook. Sherry Crook working for sometimes names just make you laugh, don't they? Sherry Crook working for the crime lab. Okay. She's testifying to the blood stains found on the carpet in the basement near where Cora and Callan were found. She said there was a saturation stain and then a transfer stain as something moved across the area. Blood on the nightstand where the knife was found is two different stains, drip stains and transfer stains from the bloody edge of the knife. The stain shows the knife was moved. Blood stains on the shingles is a transfer. Something with blood on it came in contact with the shingles and transferred the blood. Outside the second floor window is a transfer stain. Something with blood on it came in contact with the surface and left a stain. And then the court was out for the day. And now you know what that means. We go to the court of public opinion and see what the general consensus is from some trial watchers of what they think after today's testimony, right? So let's see. Let us see. Okay, so somebody said, come on, stop it. All right, so one of the people watching the trial, hold on a minute, my font is way too big, I cannot see. Okay. Said that I have no more empathy for Lindsay after this testimony. All this time I had empathy for her. I was on her side. The testimony from the nurse, Rochelle Amadi, and forensic psychiatrist Biswas changed my mind. Nurse Amadi said that when Lindsay was able to communicate and she was no longer sedated, she was alert and oriented. She was flat and wasn't crying. And then she said she remembered Lindsay making a specific request on February 1st to reach out to her lawyer. Nurse Amity made note of that because it was the first time she heard Lindsay make any reference to what happened. Biswas said that when she was still communicating through writing on January 26th, they first asked, "How are you feeling?" And she wrote, "Horrified." And then she wrote, "Do I have an attorney?" Of course, Biswas and her team said, "We were just getting to know you and the case." The team then asked Lindsay if she had any questions for them, and she asked, "Is my body broken? Are my legs straight? Do I? Can I? Is my, me? So she never once asked about her children. You would think that would be the first question on her mind. At this time, her youngest son was still on life support. Well, I don't know. Let me see what days they were. What days? Actually, not really. Maybe one day. But she didn't want to say goodbye. She didn't even ask where they were. She didn't even ask where her husband was. I just find that so odd. Changes my opinion for sure. I am leaning the other way now. Sorry. So what do you guys think about that? Let's discuss that. What do you think about what this person just said? Tell me, what do you think about it? I don't know, it's dark or light. I don't know what the heck it is here. What do you guys think about that? B-Lady? Ivy, what do you think? I don't know. Let me see if you guys are going to answer me. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Megan Els. Good to see you. Let's see. Pudding says, I understand, B-Lady. Am I in the right one? Yeah. I wonder if the defense attorney is aware of this. Is aware of what, B-Lady? What? Hold on. Let me go over here. Pudding says, I'm convinced she knew it was wrong, but she still did it anyway and deserves life in prison. And then B-Lady says, Carolyn, the testimony has not proved she was not criminally responsible. Oh, well. 10. Yes, says Ivy. Megan L. says, I believe she was out of her mind. B-Lady says, Puddin', thank you. I always like to give folks the benefit of the doubt. Megan L. says, no sane person does what she did. Well, but Megan L's, look at all the people that have killed their children. Then should they all be off by insanity because you're saying that no sane person does what they do? Really, no, I'm asking you a serious question. No sane person does what she does. Okay, so what about Diane Downs? What about Chris Watts? What about that one that blew his house up with his 2 kids in it and the social worker was at the door, right? I can't even think of the name. Powell. What about him? Are they all insane? Well, there's something wrong because what about Tim Jones, who killed his 5 kids and drove around with them and tried to get the insanity, use the insanity defense, even brought, if you have not seen the Jones trial, you should watch that, and I covered it extensively. We even had the mother of the 5 children on our show. So, he brought in so many experts and his father and all this history of this paranoid schizophrenia and everything. And you know what happened? Do you know what happened? They didn't buy it. And he got the death penalty. So, okay. And he was acting crazy, okay? And he was off of his head on this spice stuff that he was buying. So, okay, then what happens? They're not sane, so should they all get off and not be criminally responsible? So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If you're saying no sane person could have done that, but there's a lot of people that have done that. There's a lot of people that do horrible things and they still go to prison. They're not, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Now let's see what you answer that way. Sounds like someone has an opinion. Who has an opinion? Who? Who are you talking about, Megan Else? I don't know who you're talking about. Okay. Hi, Planet Damnation. I think men are more proficient at self-deletion only because of the preferred method. That does not mean women lack the will. I wonder if her defense attorney is aware of this. Aware of what, B-Lady? I'm lost. Opinions are like shocked. We all have them. I think that psychosis is not that cut and dry. He might be a good attorney, but his client is going to be found guilty of cold-blooded murder. What is the penalty for that? Can she still go to the mental hospital? No. She'll go to prison. Ivy Speed, that might be it. I agree with the person who wrote that and feel the same way. Also, her journal entry shows how controlling she is and didn't want to leave her kids to be raised by anyone but her, and maybe that's why she did. Okay. Now, Megan L says, hold on, I'm trying to catch up here. B-Lady, if she is found guilty by insanity, she will spend the rest of her life in a mental hospital and not jail. Well, we don't know that it'll be the rest of her life because Andrea Yates could have gotten out. She didn't want to. Looks like they will skip the insanity part and just say murder, and then it's prison, right? Megan L says she was screaming for help for months beforehand. Big difference. Months. Megan L, you should be her attorney. She didn't just want another man or a new life. She had months of pills. No, she did not. She didn't take the pills, Megan Else. She didn't take them. She took a few. She didn't take them. Doctors and a mental health hospital visit. Let's see. Chris Watts had a girlfriend in the wings waiting for him. Right. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm just responding to what Megan L said. She said no sane person would do what she did. But we do know people do stuff like that. Does that make them sane? I mean, in the eyes of the law? What do you mean, who is Planet? Planet Damnation is here. They're right up in the chat. They're a member. They're like the highest member there is on this channel. Did you see them? Okay, so let's see what else we've got. Everybody can have their own opinions. I mean, exactly. But I just, I haven't made my... I do think the things that I think that I know that I think she really did intend to end her life that day, and she wanted the children to go with her. She didn't want to leave them behind. And when it came to ending her life, it just did not go according to plan. Okay. Somehow. Okay. Next, let's see what they say. Someone said, I agree. And this is about that other comment, okay? That's had me pretty horrified. Yes, I'm aware she was restrained and intubated. I've seen a loved one intubated. It's not pretty. And I'm aware her room was guarded by the police. But if we're to believe that she was not in control of her actions on the evening of January 24th of 2023, and that this in fact was a psychotic episode, wouldn't she come to and think, OMG, what happened? What have I done? Where are my children now? Where is my husband? Someone tell me what's going on. See, but I think, could she have been speaking with her mother? Because remember, she changed the healthcare proxy and everything? It's possible she was speaking to other people somehow. Okay, even though she couldn't have visitors. Where is my husband? Someone tell me what's going on. Instead, these questions she asked tell me she knew exactly what happened, even going as far as to change her medical proxy. This from Patrick to her parents, that one really sticks out to me. She was very much focused on herself. Meanwhile, little Callan was intubated and had a heartbeat. It's not like she could go to him, but to not mention her children at all? So someone said, in Massachusetts, a defendant can be deemed legally insane regardless of whether or not they were aware of what happened. It's the only state where this is true. All other states, a person can only be considered insane if they had no idea what they were doing. Aware of what happened only if they were incapable of controlling their actions due to their mental state. I don't know what she's talking exactly, but they can be aware of right versus wrong while simultaneously not having control over themselves. In all other 49 states, the defense has to prove that they straight up had no idea what they were doing. Someone said that is true, but I think the level of control she showed in her journaling and the level of behavioral control she exhibited right after the murder in the hospital, and also the level of control she demonstrated as she talked to her husband in the middle of murdering her children, shows that she could have not acted on her murderous intentions. This woman screams control in everything she has ever done, and she definitely knew right from wrong as she asked for a lawyer. Someone said OCD and anxiety can both manifest as extremely controlling. This doesn't prove she was sane. In fact, knowing what I do about psychiatry, this is not surprising at all. The psychiatrist for the prosecution, Dr. Shah, has already testified that one can be in psychosis and carry on a normal conversation and carry out plans, etc., and still be unable to control their actions. Someone said, I'm not trying to say she was not psychotic. I don't believe currently that she is, but that could change as the trial progresses. What I am saying is that she had control over her behavior, and in Massachusetts, psychotic or not, if you have control, you can be held criminally liable for your actions. The whole point of the trial is asking the question of whether or not she had control over her actions that day. This hasn't been determined yet. Someone said the prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she was in control of her actions. Have they proven that? No way. People in psychosis can appear and act very in control of their action when they are, in fact, not. This has also been discussed by the witnesses. People in psychosis don't have control over their actions. Their mental state is altered. Again, the burden is on the prosecution to prove beyond any doubt that she was in control. I believe it's a reasonable doubt. How can they possibly prove that unless she confessed to someone that she planned it or has a diary somewhere that says she planned it? I'm completely not convinced. There are questions that they will attempt to answer for the jury, and I can see them proving it if they do so. We'll see. Agree, and feel the prosecutors need to do a better job of questioning. Someone said, I don't think you understand how juries work. Ask yourself for a moment why people like O.J. Simpson have gotten off. Good good thing you aren't on a jury because it's better with smarter people on it. At what point do we stop going out of our way to make excuses for a woman who murdered her children? OCD and anxiety? Really? She murdered her children. What actual proof is there that someone can be in psychosis and capable of murdering their own children while simultaneously being completely aware of their surroundings, able to carry on normal conversations, journal, and have the wherewithal to ask about an attorney? Not just a paid doctor's testimony, but actual proof. Good thing you're not on the jury. No one is making excuses for her. There are cases where mothers have been deemed not guilty by reason of insanity for infanticide. Look up legal history. What proof would convince you? No one can read someone's mind. The prosecution's witnesses are not paid. They have all been unpaid witnesses, and all for the side against her claim, and both go to the doctors who treated her, have said in a state of psychosis, which is usually precipitated and comorbid with mental illness, like OCD, anxiety, depression, bipolar, can be aware of their surroundings, capable of planned action. This can all happen while in psychosis and while being controlled by command voices. The proof is that postpartum psychosis and psychosis is a known illness. Apart from jumping into someone's mind and reading it, there is no proof that will satisfy someone who's already made up their mind. That's not how psychosis works, says someone. Yeah, it will be up to the jury to decide, and they haven't heard all the evidence yet. What we hear in the news may not be all of it, may not be accurate. Just watch the trial as it unfolds. I must say, you do have a point. Thank you for pointing that out. Someone else pointed that out. Maybe it was one of the nurses that spoke with her, that she did wake up and talk to people about what she had done. Wondering, seeing how there's at least 4 more weeks of the trial, if that will come to light. More witnesses, maybe? Oh, I'm sure there will be more on both sides. The level of control at the time of journaling has nothing to do with the level of control when the incident happened. The obsessive, detailed journaling and concern about minute details like sleep schedules and medications are common features of someone with neurosis. I don't think she was undiagnosed PPP patient. That's my point. Her doctor could have asked her to journal as well. But medication can change a person's actions on a dime. I'm not sure what you're getting at here, someone says. My bad. What I meant is, wasn't she not taking her meds properly? If she abruptly stopped taking her mixed meds around this point, it could have significantly altered her behavior. Yep, but did it alter her behavior so much that she didn't have control of her actions or know right from wrong? Thus far, I don't think so, but I think there's a lot more to be said in this trial. Hold on a minute, because it's the $1 million question. This one said, I had a patient like her. Even the emotions are starkly similar. She was incredibly disconnected in court. We had mountains of records that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis and not taking medication. The jury in a liberal state and county wasn't having it because of her lack of remorse. The jury wanted accountability. She's likely to be found guilty. Hold on. So there's a mixed bag there, right? Okay, let's see what else. All right. Someone said, my mind is being changed. Let's see what is being changed. I really had empathy for Lindsay until now. When Patrick said, when they talked a week later after what happened, okay, this is an old one. She didn't ask or talk about the kids. She only talked about herself and her injuries. I was really believing the PPD and psychosis until now. If CVS is a 3 to 4 minute drive, she literally took those kids immediately after he left and strangled them. Because when he gets to CVS and calls her, she had already done it. It's crazy to me that she called him back and confirmed the generic brand of medication is on for Cora when she was already gone. Okay, let's but that is another thing to think about. Okay, Lindsay Clancy's self-preservation behaviors mean that I can't believe her defense. Let's see what this is saying. The problem I have after today's evidence is that there are two clear examples during Lindsay's suicide attempt or self-preservation behaviors. First, you must take into account the murders of her 3 children. They were all strangulations with an exercise band in order to kill not 1, not 2, but 3 children. This would require a significant amount of force, which will get explained to us later on in the trial. Lindsay argues that this was during a psychotic break and that during this time she had no control and could not tell the difference between right and wrong. My problem in question is this: why does this self-control return when she's alleging that she's trying to take her own life? If she had targeted her neck, throat, and wrists with a knife with the same level of force she targeted her children's neck and throats with, then the damage would be so much more severe. The fact that the cuts are superficial and would not have resulted in her bleeding out suggests self-preservation kicked in. If she had left from the window, as the defense previously claimed, then there would not be the blood patterns on both the inside and the outside of the window, suggesting she was in fact trying to lower herself down to the ground, to drop from a lower height and limit damage. This is again evidence of self-preservation. She's aware of the damage she would do to herself if she ran and leapt out of the window head first. Self-preservation in these two scenarios leads me to no other conclusion than her having control and being aware that what she was doing was wrong. When you realize that one of the very first things Lindsay asked for at the hospital, besides an attorney, is whether or not her body is fixable, it becomes clear that she didn't intend to kill herself or cause the level of damage to herself that she has. You also should understand now why the defense didn't just want to stipulate to everything from the beginning. Reddington wanted to tire the jury. Could you imagine how much more impactful this would be if this was coming on day 1 or 2? So, thoughts on that? What do you think about that? That's somebody's opinion. That's a opinion. Yeah. The very fact that she's trying to get off the hook by pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, it's actually not criminally responsible, is a self-preservation behavior. You'd think she'd be overwhelmed with remorse and would plead guilty and ask for a bench trial. I said 3 years ago, she's a raging cluster B narc, and I have yet to be proved wrong, said someone. I wonder if this has been diagnosed while she was in the hospital for 3 years and will be presented. I do think it fits with the theory that the prosecution seems to be getting at and would make a lot of sense. That's what I've been saying, says someone else. or just plead and avoid a trial. Yes, this is all very damning. I'm not sure how others reconcile this. Horrible and chilling and disturbing. Do we think at any point the defense might concede, or are they riding this thing until the wheels fall off? Seems pretty black and white so far. He gets paid whether she wins or not, so no. This is a guy who is a zealous advocate, who in his zealous advocacy in his opening statement, she was crucified, and the state was trying to kill her soul. The wheels were never really on here. Somebody said, well, none of the medical experts and the psychiatrists that she was seeing and prescribed her all these medications prior to that tragic night have even testified to what was going on with her. We've heard about the hospital and about the house evidence. There's so much more to hear. Whether or not you're pro-prosecution and make up your mind, you still want to hear what the heck she was like in the 4 months of appointments leading up to this. Sure we do. The problem is that these medical experts and these psychiatrists who examined her before the murders are all going to have opinions which suit the prosecution. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been brought to trial. Common sense also tells you they're not going to admit to missing psychosis. And plus, they're all being sued in a civil suit by not just Lindsay, but also Patrick. Common sense also tells you that they're not going to admit to missing psychosis. They're all going to conclude that she didn't have symptoms of it, and she never admitted to voices or hallucinations. It's also interesting that pro-defense experts are both in their 80s, which one might argue gives you them a vast amount of experience, but they're also more likely to be relying on older theories and data rather than the current understanding. Well, her lawyer is not in his 80s. Her lawyer is 75. Okay. Especially with the civil suit being brought against them. Yeah, they said that. I think it's going to be interesting to see, even watching the cross from either the defense experts or the psychiatrists and nurses that were treating her and seeing her, what was noted. I feel like it paints a more complex picture, even if it's diluted and even if you've already made up your mind. For sure, she was experiencing issues prior, but she first started seeing her psychiatrist, Dr. Tufts, in September 2022. Then in January of 2023 is when everything happened. You just don't understand. Psychosis can make you plan and send your husband out. This is all before you are checked the maps to see how long he would be gone. Return his phone call in the middle of murdering to bide more time. Superficially cut yourself, as now stated by multiple first responders. Waste time crushing up pills. Haven't heard the tox report yet. And then lower yourself when jumping from a height. All of this, of course, points to psychosis. Duh. Someone said the inconsistency, hold on a minute, exactly points to psychosis. The inconsistency is what is the evidence. No sane person behaves this way. Okay, so let's see. So people are saying not to ask or talk about the kids at any point with her husband, the only person who cared most about those kids, and or in the hospital or the nurses. That doesn't sit well with me. Someone said, do we know when she found out that the kids were dead? Do we know when they told her? Have they told us? I might have missed it. I do agree with you. The psychiatrist did not mention Lindsay asking about her kids or anyone else. Someone said yesterday, I believe one doc testified that she asked where her family was. I did read somewhere that when she talked to Patrick at one point, she did tell him that she misses the kids. I'm not sure which time that is. Then said, well put and agree. How come she never asked about the children or talked about them to Patrick on her calls or to the nurses? To me, that's weird. I would imagine when you come to your senses and you realize what you have done, all I want to talk about is what happened to them and that I didn't mean it. The fact that she doesn't talk once, yeah, what happened about the funerals for the kids and all of that? Like, what happened? When were the funerals? I want to look that up. Let me see. A joint funeral mass for Cora, Dawson, and Callan was held Friday, February 3rd, 2023 at St. Mary of the Nativity in Saskatchewan. Let's see. The eulogy was given by the Reverend Dehan, wrote a deeply personal eulogy. He read one that was written by the children's father, Patrick Clancy. The tribute highlighted Patrick's unique bond and daily dynamic with each individual child, celebrating their short lives and distinct personalities. But he was supporting her at this point, right? Said she was a wonderful mother, so he didn't speak about her during the eulogy to the kids? That's interesting, isn't it? Let me go back on something that was written back in 2023 when this happened. So let's see. A funeral mass was held for 3 young Massachusetts siblings who were killed last month. Their mother, Lindsay Clancy, is accused in connection with the deaths. 5-year-old Cora Clancy, 3-year-old Dawson Clancy, 8-month-old Callan Clancy were found inside their Duxbury home on January 24th. The 2 older children were pronounced dead at the hospital that night, and the youngest child died on January 27th. The funeral for the children was held on Friday at St. Mary of the Nativity in Saskatchewan. Reverend Bob Dehan of Holy Family Church in Duxbury presented the eulogy. It was a beautiful funeral mass, but it's very, very difficult, he said. Lindsay Clancy remains hospitalized for injuries sustained when she jumped from a window of their home. Her attorney revealed on Friday they planned to argue that she lacked criminal responsibility in the case because she was over-medicated and involuntarily intoxicated. Her husband and father of the children, Patrick Clancy, had gone out for approximately 20 minutes to pick up medications and dinner. Patrick Clancy found his wife outside their home on Summer Street and called 911 at around 6:10 on January 24th. Dehan said he read words of a eulogy written by Patrick Clancy during the service, showing the beautiful relationship he had with each child, and brought out their personality and the dynamic between himself and the child, and it was beautiful. Beautiful, and a privilege for me to read it for him, but not easy at the same time. Lindsay Clancy is facing 2 counts of murder and 3 counts of strangulation and assault and battery with a deadly weapon. Upgraded charges are expected after the death of Callan. Patrick Clancy made a statement last week, though, through a post on an online fundraiser, his first public statement in the wake of the tragedy, and this is it, and I quote, A lot of people have said they can't imagine, and they're right. There's absolutely nothing that can prepare you. The shock and pain is excruciating and relentless. I'm constantly reminded of them, and with the little sleep I get, I dream about them on repeat. Any parent knows it's impossible to understand how much you will love your kids until you have them. The same goes for understanding the devastation of losing them. Cora, Dawson, and Callan were the essence of my life, and I'm completely lost without them. I want to ask all of you that you find it deep within yourselves to forgive Lindsay as I have. The real Lindsay was generously loving and caring towards everyone, me, our kids, family, friends, and her patients. The very fibers of her soul are loving. All I wish for her now is that she can somehow find peace. Patrick says he will put all of his energy into healing and rediscovering his purpose, adding that love always wins. Cora, Dawson, and Callan, you gave me so much in your short time here. I don't know if the pain will ever go away, but I'll do my best to carry on in your honor. Dada loves you so much and will always remember you. Authorities would not comment on whether any mental illness may have played a role in the homicides, or if Lindsay Clancy has any mental health history. So she was conscious and stuff. Did she attend by Zoom? She did just no mention. So let's just say this is February. Nobody talks about her even asking about her. She wanted to plan everything. This is her children's funeral. I mean, nobody wants to plan their children's funeral, but did she ask anything about it? I wonder if she did. And again, did she ask anything about Callan in the hospital? Did Patrick discuss anything with her about taking him off life support? I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to see something.
From food-grade lubricants to LED lighting and every product in between, all in one place and easy to order.
Oh,
Call,
gosh.
click, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Is this like a joke? Stop with these ads. I was trying to see if they said anything about that she He said he spoke to her about a week after it happened, and she didn't say anything about the children, remember? All right, hold on a second. Somebody asked something about this. Ow. Somebody asked, did Lindsay attend the funeral for her kids? She did not attend. Let's see. She did not. She was still in the hospital. She's not medically cleared. So a lot of people, she's not the victim. They died struggling to breathe, looking into her evil eyes. I think it was the opposite because she had them face down, but still. She knew what she was doing, someone said. Someone said, you're missing the point. Knowing you're performing an act and being mentally capable of rational judgment are not the same thing. A person can physically know what they're doing, yet still be suffering from severe mental illness that distorts reality or impairs their ability to appreciate the wrongfulness of their actions. That's precisely why the jury is hearing extensive psychiatric testimony. The question isn't simply, did she know she was strangling her children? It's whether her mental state was so severely impaired by postpartum psychosis, bipolar disorder, alleged overmedication, or another condition that she lacked the capacity required for criminal responsibility under the law. Okay, let me see what that's a lot. Let's see what you've said so far. All right, let's see. All right. Okay. Psychosis is messy, says Ivy. Megan L says she didn't give a shite about anything, which also is a mental health issue. Her asking if her legs were straight just could have been out of curiosity, not because she cared. They say superficial, yet she needed a massive blood transfusion after being moved from the first hospital and also went into cardiac arrest at some point. Megan, very true, says Ivy. Megan L's true, says B Lady. Megan L says, as for being too controlling, goes due to her journal entries. Yes, I do believe there has a lot to do with being a nurse and having to be meticulous with documentation and instructions. And the B lady says OJ had the #1 dream team for his defense. Megan L says people in healthcare or any type of law enforcement usually have to be able to document thoroughly every little piece of the incident needs to be written. Psychosis is tricky, says Ivy. Piper, hi Piper, how are you? Thank you for coming in, Piper. You're curious why a jury gets to decide where she goes when usually a psych team would say where they need to be. What do you mean why a jury decides where she goes? A jury's going to decide if she's criminally responsible. That's what happens. That's our legal system. She could have had a bench trial if she wanted. If it was okay with the Commonwealth, if they came, that was just like Mackenzie Shirilla had a bench trial. But that's what our legal system is. Good point, Piper's. Doctors specializing in mental health care should be the ones deciding her fate. You hope the prosecution rests soon. I don't think so. Hi, Debbie. Let's see. Mental health is such a problem in this country. We've got to somehow do better, says Ivy. I mean, look at Perez Hilton. I just saw something about Perez Hilton, but I don't really know anything yet. Hi, Murder of Crows. Let's see here. Megan L says, I also can't say that her unaliving attempt wasn't a half-assed one. What part did she miss while trying to unalive herself to make one believe that it wasn't half-assed? Okay. I also can't say that her unaliving attempt wasn't a half-assed one. What part did she miss while trying to unalive herself to make one believe that it wasn't half-assed? Okay, I guess she didn't try to run herself over. B Lady says, Megan Els, I think the prosecution is hinting at the went out the window and hung on, gently sliding down. David L says, I think so too, B. People use the mental health card for every bad, wrong action nowadays. She is evil, in my opinion, says Murder. Murder, good point, says B Lady. Megan L said if she slid down, she wouldn't have exploded her body and be in a wheelchair. But who's thinking logically on the prosecution side? Ivy says, I don't think her unaliving attempt, whether it was legit or not, points towards or against whether she was psychotic. Megan L says she must have been using the mental health care for months because, I think you mean card, right? Because the events of the day, then even taking a fun visit to a mental hospital as it's a field trip. Card, yeah, okay. Patrick's civil suit is not looking good, says B Lady. She wasn't taking the pills. It's not just Patrick's. They both have one. They both have a civil suit. Ivy says, I think the jury will hang. A lot of people do. Megan L says, B Lady, how many of those pills did she take that they never collected from her bedside table that her lawyer found? B Lady says, Megan L's, I don't know for sure, but they were showing them in court and only a few were missing from each bottle. Megan L says they were showing the ones that the detectives collected from the kitchen table. Yes, Megan L says, B Lady. Debbie says, we have 2 boxes of unused pills here in our home from bottles that we started and then discontinued when told by the doctor to switch meds. But I've got to go to bed. I need to be up in less than 5 hours. Okay, good night. Thanks for stopping in. Debbie says, sweet dreams. B Lady says, take care. Have a good one tomorrow. Megan L says, Debbie, there was also a bag in Patrick's car that were discontinued. Hold on a minute. That the detectives collected from the kitchen. No, hold on. Where did you write that? Discontinued, and he was to drop them off at a disposal place and hadn't yet. Good night, everyone. Good night. So there were 3 different sets of pills in 3 different places, but only the kitchen table pills were counted. I don't think that's entirely true. Good night. Good night, says Linda. Debbie says, I never want to understand how he feels. B Lady said, Patrick went through an agonizing experience. I am happy he has found love and has a new son. Murder says she killed her children. Why would she be interested in their funeral? Pudding said, is there anywhere in her medical history that shows she reported hearing voices in the past? Only one time, I believe it was in December. I don't know if it was voices. No, I don't think it was voices. I think she said that she would think about hurting the kids or herself. Yeah. Let's see. Hospital phone call. Her then husband, Patrick Clancy, testified during her trial that about a week after the January 2023 tragedy, Lindsay called from the hospital and told him that she had heard a man's voice saying that if she didn't do it then, she would lose her chance. Lindsay Clancy. I wanted to go to see what about my stomach's grumbling? Lindsay Clancy. I like to go back into like the really first articles and stuff about cases, because sometimes there's stuff there to pick up, but I don't know. We have to see more testimony. I'm not convinced of anything right now, except that I think, like, she wanted to take her life, and then just it didn't work out that way, but decided the children had to take it with her. I'm gonna go. I'm looking at something here. Is that room 3? Patrick Clancy, this is right after to the police. Patrick Clancy stated that Lindsay Clancy stated that she had been having suicidal thoughts as well as thoughts of hurting the children. He clarified that she had communicated that she was feeling this way at the end of December. Patrick Clancy stated that Lindsay had reached out to her psychiatrist, Jennifer Tufts. Patrick stated that Lindsay had self-admitted to McLean Hospital from January 1st through January 5th. Patrick Clancy stated that he and Lindsay had an amazing marriage and got along great. He further stated that they tell each other they love each other 10 times a day. At the end of the interview, Mr. Clancy consented to have his face, clothing, and hands digitally photographed. See if they have all right, here's another one. Patrick stated that he arrived back home at his residence and he noticed the whole house was quiet. He stated that he went upstairs to his bedroom and the bedroom door was locked. He stated that after he got into his bedroom, he saw blood and the window open, and so he then ran downstairs and outside and located Lindsay Clancy on the ground. Patrick stated that when he located Lindsay, it appeared that she had slit her wrists and possibly her neck. And then he called 911. And then again, Patrick stated that Lindsay Clancy stated she had been having suicidal thoughts as well as thoughts of hurting the children, and clarified that this was the end of December. And Patrick stated that Lindsay had reached out to her psychiatrist, Jennifer Tufts. And so that'd be interesting to find out, if she's going to testify. But with the lawsuit, I don't know. Crazy. Okay, let me see. Lindsay Clancy. I remember seeing something. It was almost a video. I wonder if there was like 48 hours or something, because I could swear I saw her psychiatrist in some kind of a documentary thing talking with her. I wonder if there was something already about that. I really remember that. Okay, let's see. And I can vaguely remember the room and stuff, and about something about a phone call that he was with her when she was making a phone call to someone. And it was a male psychiatrist. Does anybody remember that? I remember it so well. Unless it wasn't Lindsay, but it was Lindsay. I said, oh, the psychiatrist is talking to her. And now he's telling her this, that, and the other thing. I could swear I remember that so vividly. Okay, hi Super Chat Cat. Hang on, let me make this bigger because I can barely see this. Okay. Evelyn Heilman, now you haven't... Wait a minute, I am so confused. Evelyn, now you have a totally different... You're in another... Now you have a new profile. Evie, did you just make a new profile? You're scaring me now. Evie, is that really you? Is that really you in the chat? Because now I'm getting scared. Because somebody else came in with a brand new thing and I made them a mod. And now you're not in that account. You're in a totally different account. What's going on? You're scaring me. I'm going to remove the wrench from the other Evelyn because I don't know that that's you. Now you're in another account. You're scaring me. Okay, I just took that wrench away because I don't know what's going on. Planet appears... Wait, what happened to Planet? Okay, let me see. You guys are like really chatting up here, which is good. I just have to catch up. Okay. I think that too, Carolyn, from what I remember. Okay. Her defense attorney could have submitted evidence too. So if there was any missing meds, that he had the opportunity to argue that and submit the evidence. He did present that info, says Debbie. Wait until the defense presents. I think there will be a lot more explaining. Pudding says, right, I haven't heard she specifically reported hearing voices, but I might be wrong. P. Letty said, why do these women think they are in control of their children? What about the dads? What? Pudding, I think she was warming up when she told her husband she was beginning to hear them. Be Mama Bears. Debbie Doll, true. I was watching a cop cam, and unfortunately in many states, if a couple is not married, and even if the man is on the birth certificate, the woman is in control of the child. Pudding says, that sounds plausible, B-Lady. B-Lady says, I'm going to try to join the Zoom tomorrow. It might be interesting. And then Evelyn says, hi, Carolyn, in another new account. That I don't know what Evelyn is saying, hi, Carolyn, in another new account. they had to rule him out of being the perpetrator. Planet Damnation says, I think mental illness is on the resume of every murderer. It's hard to convince me it should change the killer's fate. Planet Damnation appears that this is true. It's just so sad when they take innocent children's lives, says B Lady. Super Chat says, I think I told you an identical case that took place in Cedar in 2023. Canada, not Cedar. Well, we heard about one very similar in New Zealand as well. We talked about that last night. What case is that? Good night, B Lady. Sleep well. She also became a paraplegic. Yeah, didn't we look that up? Did we look that up? Tell me again what the name of that was. Didn't we look that one up? Can you tell me again what it is? Tell me, please, tell me. No, everybody's saying Perez Hilton. What happened to Perez Hilton? I don't really know Perez Hilton that much. Isn't he like a tabloid writer? He has like he talks about a lot of the... Doesn't he talk a lot about like, oh, not the 90s, like the, what do you call that? Like a variety writer. I can't even think of the word right now. You know what I mean? Like a tabloid writer about the gossip about people. I mentioned above a synopsis. Can you just give me their name? I did discuss it. It wasn't until the middle of looking at the case that it seemed so. No, that was yesterday. That was yesterday, but this is another one. That was in New Zealand. Super Chat is saying there's another one in Canada. The ambulance just took him to the hospital. Vanessa Colias. He went live on TikTok. He went live on TikTok. All right, let's see. We're going to look at this first. All right. So it says on Sunday, December 10th. This was after Lindsay Clancy, almost a year after. On Sunday, December 10th, at approximately 7:31 p.m., police responded to a call for unknown trouble at 5 Glamorgan Avenue. It is alleged that a woman was located with injuries on the ground outside of an apartment building. Her injuries were the result of a fall from a balcony. Police located the woman's two children, a 4-year-old boy and a 5-year-old boy, with no vital signs inside the apartment. The children were transported to the hospital where they were pronounced deceased. The woman was transported to the hospital with serious injuries and remains in serious condition. On Thursday, December 14th, 2023, the woman, Vanessa Colias, I don't think I went over this, of Toronto, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Okay, then we have, she pled guilty. Okay, so this is different. She's not going to trial. She's taking a plea deal. She pled guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder at the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. Her sons, 4-year-old Dimitri Colias and 5-year-old Yanis Colias, were killed one after another in her Scarborough apartment on Glamorgan Avenue in the area of Kennedy and Ellesmere Roads on December 10th of 2023. According to an agreed statement of facts, the court heard that Colias told Dr. Sumita Chatterjee, forensic psychiatrist at the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, that she felt broken and absolutely alone. And the only thing she wanted was for the family to be reunited after her husband, oh, I remember this one, maybe we did. Her husband died, right? Yes, he was older than her. He was almost 50 years older than her. Okay, so she said that she felt broken and absolutely alone, and the only thing she wanted was for the family to be reunited after her husband, Costa Colias, 47 years her senior, died of leukemia on December 1st, 2023. So 9 days after he died. 3 days after being diagnosed, he died. The court also heard that Colias could not imagine her life without her husband and wanted all of them to be reunited in heaven. After Colias killed the boys, according to the agreed statement of facts, she tried to die by taking her life and was left a paraplegic. The statement of facts said that Colias left notes for police and a list of family phone numbers. She also laid out her son's funeral clothing, their birth certificates, a picture of their dead father, and she placed a cross beside their bodies. According to the agreed statement of facts, Toronto police went to Colias' apartment building after an unknown call for trouble and found her on the grass outside, and she told them she had fallen from the 6th floor. 6th floor. Police found the boys lying side by side without vital signs. They were pronounced dead at the hospital later that evening. Colias' letter to police contained apologies and pleas for forgiveness to family members for what she had done. She stated that her biggest regret was not being successful in her own suicide attempt. Chatterjee and her psychiatric report contained in the sentencing materials said Colias was overwhelmed by the sudden death of her husband 9 days earlier, and her grief was intense. She said Colias did suffer from an adjustment disorder, but it did not qualify her for a possible defense of not being criminally responsible as a result of a mental disorder. In summary, while Ms. Colias does not suffer from a major mental disorder that might have otherwise impacted her ability to appreciate her actions or know the consequences of the same, she is the product of persistent childhood trauma that informed her adult views of the world and her sense of safety and relationships. Her history formed the foundation of a sudden and severely maladaptive and tragic coping response following the unexpected death of the only source of security she had in life. The Crown and defense jointly recommended that Colia serves 18 years in prison before being eligible for parole. Superior Court Justice Maureen Forstall agreed and imposed the sentence recommended. Okay, so I don't know how old she was, but how old is she? So she took a plea deal, though, Super Chat. You didn't need a jury or anything. She pled to second degree. So, but yeah, I mean, but in that case, it sounds like he was 47 years her senior. It's very possible if she had a really traumatizing childhood, she could have, been looking for that father figure she didn't have. And then when he died and she had 2 little boys, that I could believe would send somebody over the edge and be insane and trying to go. I'm surprised. Yeah, that seems more on cue with. Hold on, I cannot find. Okay. So, yeah, okay, and let's see what's going on with, sad that she didn't have the support she needed. Yeah, well, it was so quick, right? Okay, let's see. Horrible. Okay, let's see what's going on with Perez Hilton here. Perez Hilton sparks police response after alarming TikTok live stream in Miami-Dade County. Disturbing Perez Hilton live stream. Okay, let's see. Perez Hilton. Police say they responded to the Miami home of celebrity blogger and podcaster Perez Hilton after they received reports that he engaged in self-harm in live stream video Tuesday. Spokesperson for Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said deputies responded to reports of someone who was live streaming acts of self-harm on social media. The statement was sent in response to an inquiry about Perez Hilton, but it did not name him. In a follow-up statement, the Sheriff's Office says the person was safely recovered and taken to a local hospital where he is receiving medical attention. It said deputies spoke to family members at the scene who confirmed the person had been alone inside the residence. The video, which was streamed on TikTok before the platform pulled it, appeared to show Hilton covered in blood with cuts around his arms and torso while he slid what appeared to be a knife on himself. In the video, viewers pleaded with him and asked for his phone number so they could alert authorities. Video from Hilton's neighborhood taken by NBC South Florida showed multiple sheriff patrol vehicles stopped and a street wrapped with yellow tape. Oh, let's see. This Golden Artist Entertainment represents Hilton, said in a statement they're aware of the concerning content circulating online involving our client, Perez Hilton. At this time, we have not been able to make direct contact with him, despite our ongoing efforts to reach him. Our primary concern is Perez's health and well-being, as well as the health and well-being of his family. He is 48 years old. He made a name in the early 2000s, publicizing and sometimes belittling celebrities who made public gaffes or otherwise found themselves in trouble with the law. His real name is Mario Lavandeira. He has 3 children born via surrogacy. On June 17th, he announced that his family was moving back to Miami after having lived in Las Vegas for 3.5 years. He said, "God told me to move to Miami." And he also discussed a recent hospital stay. In a follow-up video, Hilton and the children expressed excitement about the move. Manifesting abundance, manifesting just family, peace, good times, he said. That's what's most important. In addition to his website, he's expanded his online presence with the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker, on which the two talk about the latest celebrity news and gossip. In 2010, he said he would stop bullying people on his website as part of his effort to discourage bullying among teenagers. "I really want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem." That's what I was going to say. Doesn't he usually, I thought like he usually was really kind of nasty to people. I don't know. How old are his kids and where were they during this? It's kind of crazy kicks, right? Time is it? Oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock. Okay. Let me just check something quickly. All right, let's see. U.S. scientists chilling warning that the world will collapse in less than 25 years. Georgia firefighters head west as massive now they're burning in Georgia? Oh my goodness, really? Oh, did you hear about who started the Spokane, Washington fires? Somebody that killed his father, and that's crazy, but what the heck is going on there? A heavily armed suspect at California. 14 injured, including firefighters and MTA workers, after a train caught fire in New York. What? Well, which train is this? Astor Place subway station. Astor Place. Dad sues for $39 million after his daughter, 17, died on Death Trap, Oregon Road, driving home from a new job. The cyclospora outbreak is expanding to include 15 states with 1,000 cases, and the first death, happened, right? Okay, what was that? 7 Indiana University fraternity members charged with hazing pledges with twisted workouts and sending to the hospital. Probably right. So yeah, the man that set these come over here, these Washington wildfires, was 37-year-old Aaron F. Farinacci. He was charged with first-degree arson. The Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles said a witness driving near where the fire started saw a man standing on the side of the road looking into the trees, and 10 minutes later the witness saw the man bending down near the grass, standing up and looking very nervous. Back home, the witness contacted police after seeing smoke emerging from the same area. When he was detained, Farinacci was found with waterproof matches and a butane lighter. The suspect has a 2012 conviction for manslaughter in Arizona. In 2010, police say Farinacci shot and killed his father and then turned the gun on himself after an argument about doing the dishes. I think I remember that. He had initially been charged with first-degree murder, but he pled guilty to manslaughter and aggravated assault, according to Maricopa County court records, and he was in prison from 2012 to 2020, 8 years. And records show he was discharged from probation in 2024. The Old Trails fire was first reported Saturday afternoon. By Monday, 3 devastating fires had burned approximately 700 structures in the area. Some 65,000 people, more than 10% of the county's population, have been placed under evacuation orders. More than 8,026 acres have burned in total since the fires started Saturday, with 0% of the fire contained. The Pacific Northwest has been in a drought since May. Since Monday, there have been minor improvements in fire weather conditions across the Pacific Northwest, which should allow firefighters to make progress. Winds have relaxed in the absence of any large high or low pressure systems, but the lack of storm systems also means no rain, so the area is hot and dry. A heat advisory is in effect for much of the Columbia River Basin, and the hot temperatures will lead to more evaporation of any moisture left in vegetation. Okay, so that's, I think I have to do the word game and get to bed. Evelyn Hillman has multiple accounts, and I just want to make sure we have the right Evelyn Hillman, because I don't know what Evelyn Hillman we have in here. Evelyn Heilman. All right. Hello, A Heart Made Wise. A Heart Made Wise. Oh my gosh. You have to watch the replay of the Lindsay Clancy trial if you haven't seen it, because I think her name is Hartnett. I think that was the one. I think her first name is Monica. She sounds just like you. If you close your eyes, you would think you were on the stand. I heard it, and then I said to Linda, wait a minute, whose voice does this sound like? And she goes, Hart, just like that. She heard like 2 words, and she goes, Hart? And I said, oh my gosh, it does. It sounds so much like you. The fire that was in Washington. Good night, Ari. Super Chat's already feeling better and will only continue that way. Thank you, Callan. I enjoyed every minute. Oh, I'm glad you did, Ari. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, oh, it's crazy. I heard like 2 words and I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, Linda, who does this sound like? And she just goes like this, Hart. It was deliberately set. Yeah, the one in Washington, yes. And by a guy that has already killed his father. And the reason I did that little thing is because one of the headlines said, the suspect once killed his father. I mean, can you 2 times and 3 times kill your father? Just really weird what they said. Okay. Yeah, you have to watch it. It's just so crazy. It sounds so much like you. Now they're saying there's forest fires in Georgia. Is that correct? Who was Jen? Jen, who you... Oh wait, she's talking about Perez Hilton. Yes, Super Chat. He was very happy and the kids were excited too because that's where he grew up and he wanted to go back to his roots and do that with his children. But I wonder if he was having money problems because they moved quite a bit. So maybe he had to sell the house there and then move back when he grew up. And then moved back when he grew up. He was trying to sell a whole bunch of Christian stuff online. Christian stuff. Why? What did Super Chat say? He was said to have had a spiritual experience in his recent hospitalization. He encountered Jesus. Okay. Okay. Edit and tide. Okay. Tide. Oh, we didn't do quit itself, did we? Of course not. Yeah. Oh, and quite. Done. Did it. Did it. Did it. I don't even want to see that calendar. Viewed. And viewed, right? I did do dues, yeah. Side. Sides. I got two. Are you proud of me? That we were waiting for. I feel like we had the same puzzle last night. Pointing. Pinning. Tongue. I don't know, guys. I can't keep my eyes open. We're going to have to finish this tomorrow. I have to go to sleep. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for staying with me to the discussion. Both, whatever, whatever you're feeling, it's fine to discuss it. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you to all the watchers, viewers, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of those that are members and Patreons and support the channel. We really appreciate it, and thank you for supporting the channel by sharing this, liking it, subscribing. We appreciate that too, and we will see you tomorrow. God bless and prayers, and stay well, and we'll see you then. You're getting opting. Okay, I'll put that one in, and then we're going to bed. Then we're going to bed, murder. I'll have to finish tomorrow. All right, everybody, take care. Sweet dreams. Love you. God bless. Prayers for all that need them. We all need them, so keep them coming. Hope you feel better. Super chat.